Madam President, I rise today to call upon the President of the United States to overturn one of the most radical and unconstitutional mandates ever issued, a mandate that requires faith-based organizations and hospitals, educational institutions to provide and pay for health insurance coverage that violates the fundamental tenets of their faith. Our founding fathers believed so deeply in the importance of religious freedom that they made it the very first American principle in the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution reads in part, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof." On January 20th, the Obama administration announced one of the greatest deviations from this constitutional guarantee of religious freedom in our nation's history. The federal rule under President Obama is a blatant assault on the conscience rights of any organization or any individual that opposes abortion or the use of contraceptives. While I am a pro-life senator and believe that life begins at conception, I am not someone that supports banning contraception, but I do support the right of those who hold to that belief that those tenets should be respected and that federal mandates and federal regulations and federal laws should not be used to overturn that principal belief. I don't believe this was an oversight. The Obama administration doubled down on its ruling by ignoring the numerous efforts by faith-based organizations to be granted an exemption. This issue is not a debate over whether the use of contraceptives is right or wrong. This is not a debate over whether the health care law is the right policy or the wrong policy. I do believe, personally, that the Obamacare policy is the wrong policy for this nation. But this is a debate over whether Congress is going to sit idly by and watch the administration walk all over the freedom of religion, and not just the Congress, but the institutions of America and the people of America, a core American principle. Or will we stand up and protect what our founding fathers put their lives on the line for and what millions of Americans defend each day? Catholic institutions, whether they be Catholic social service in all of its forms, whether it be universities like the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, will have one of two choices. First, they can either pay for health insurance that covers things like sterilization or birth control despite their deeply held religious objections, or they can refuse to offer any sort of health insurance to their employees, which will result in these organizations facing significant fines and penalties while their employees must seek health insurance elsewhere. In other words, the Obama administration is saying, compromise your religious beliefs to comply with our massive federal health care law, or you and your employees will face a penalty. While this decision will greatly impact many in the Catholic faith, it will also extend beyond a singular religious denomination. A wide variety of religious institutions and organizations across the country will resist providing insurance coverage for birth control. Cardinal Designate Timothy Dolan, president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, said, and I quote, "Never before has the federal government forced individuals and organizations to go out into the marketplace and buy a product that violates their conscience. This shouldn't happen in a land where free exercise of religion ranks first in the Bill of Rights." Although the most blatant violation of the First Amendment, this ruling is a culmination of attacks on religious and faith-based organizations by this administration. I fear, as Washington Post columnist Michael Gerson noted in his article today, that such a trend will threaten the good work being done by faith-based groups of any faith, whether it be Catholic or Protestant, whether it be Jewish or Muslim, any group or nonprofit, hospital or charity that is working to provide services to people in need now have to compromise their basic religious tenets in order to continue to provide that insurance coverage for their employees or pay a fine by not doing so. There have been some bills introduced here to overturn this. I would hope that those in the administration who are listening to the people and listening to the protest that is being made against this almost unconscionable mandate will not stand by idly and wait to see whether or not Congress will act, because we will act, and we'll act as soon as we can. I would hope that they would reconsider this sweeping, unconstitutional authority, which is in direct violation of the First Amendment. George Washington once said, "Every man conducting himself as a good citizen and being accountable to God alone for his religious opinions ought to be protected in worshiping the deity according to the dictates of his own conscience." We must take a stand to protect this inalienable right, the right of conscience, established by our founding fathers and sustained for over 200 years. Mr. President, you can undo this wrong by rejecting and overturning this mandate that has been imposed, which violates the most basic of human rights and principles of our Constitution, and I'm calling on you to do so.